Hey everybody, welcome back to Watching in the Dark. I'm your host today, Garrett, and we're going to be going over how I did at the Death or Glory Invitational. First up, I want to address a few things. I made a video last week talking about the list I was originally going to bring to the Death or Glory Invitational. I did not end up bringing that list. There's a few practice games. I played about 5 practice games with the list. Overall, I was not happy with how it performed, and I feel like there was just a few things I needed to tweak with the list still, so I put that list on the back shelf. And I ended up taking a list that Red Wolf Noah, second place ITC Death Guard, was helping me work on. And we tried out that list. So I'm going to go over that list here in just a second for you all. The list pertained to Malignant Plaguecasters playing the Inexorable Plague Company. Each Plaguecaster knowing Miasma, 1 knowing Precessant, and 1 knowing Gift of Plagues. Next up, we have 4 units of Plague Marines. They're all kitted out with Plasma Gun, Power Fist, Blight Launcher, Cleaver, Flail, and Plasma Gun. We have Poxwalkers and a 10-man brick of Blightlord Terminators, 3 Blight Drones, a Foul Blight Spawn, Tallyman, and 2 Plagueburst Crawlers, followed along with 2 Rhinos for all of the Plague Marines to go inside. Rounding out the list, we just have 2 Chaos Spawn. My first opponent for the Death or Glory Invitational was Brandon Valley. He's a fun guy to always play against. I'm always glad to see him. He's playing Dark Angels today. He's kind of playing a more Raven Wings. And the list he played will be flashing across the screen as we go over how the game went and things I think I could have done better or done worse. First up, let's go over secondary choices. I went Spread the Sickness, Warp Ritual, and Assassinate. Brandon went Grind Them Down, Raise the Banners High, and Behind Enemy Lines. The missions we played were in sequential orders, number 11, 12, 13, 21, 22, 23. So, me and Brandon playing mission 11. Break them body and soul, each unit destroy, you get a point. Now on screen, you can see when and where we did all of these points and where did they all come from, and kind of just a synopsis of the game. Some of the games were called a bit early, so we didn't do a full thing. We just kind of talked it out. So we'll see that later in the video. I'll try my best to keep the score as accurate as possible. But this was round 1 for me. We tied 88 to 88. Assassinate really just bit me in the butt. He just basically hid once he lost a bunch of his units that could block his characters, and just basically was able to run away from me for the remainder of the game and just keep me from scoring points on those final turns. We just wound up not being able to get those assassinate, but we were able to deny him, raise the banners high just because we were able to get up into his face, steal some objectives, and beat OBSEC and really tear them all down. Game 1, I think I played a little bit too aggressive with my drones, and it really bit me in the butt. I think that the drones, I played them a little bit safer, used them more of a piece to try to take out his behind enemy line scorers, and played more passively so his Meltas couldn't get to him. They might have been able to bring back the game a little bit for me. And also my Terminator's placement wasn't great because it's a 6 objective mission, and they're all pretty spread. It's really hard for me to move around the map. So overall, I think this is close to the best situation I could come out on. A trawl, and I think I should have picked a better secondary maybe. I probably could have scored more than 6 on Assassinate, and if I just took another one. But live and learn. Brandon's an amazing player, so I have no hard feelings about tying with him. Round 2 opponent was Brian Horton. He took Warp Ritual, Raise the Banners, and Cranial Feasting. I took Warp Ritual, Spread the Sickness, and Fleeing Vectors. This was mission number 12, and basically in this game, I was able to just really shove him out of the middle and take out all of his Psychers very quickly. And I basically was able to farm his Gaunts and stuff just for those 3 points for Fleeing Vector. So I was able to really grind out those points. We got into melee a lot, and that made it very easy to just scrap together these points. I think I'm supposed to have one more tick of Fleeing Vectors there at the end, but it just didn't matter at the end of the game because we were already capped on it. The secondary is huge because you can score it on each player's turn. And I was able to really just dominate this game because my Brick of Terminators just was able to get into the middle, threaten him, and my drones were able to just tie up his big shooting weapons, the platforms, the whole game. I was able to really just play around Cranial Feasting just because I was overcharging my plasma guns the whole time, just try to get as much damage through because Strength 8 Plasma mixed with Contagions is really good, even against Strength 8 models, it turns out. He did have an amazing turn where it looked like the game was about to shift in his favor, but the damage from the Tyrants just wasn't enough to really clear out all the Terminators. He scored a lot of points there, got some Cranial Feastings and stuff, but just wasn't enough to really put big enough dent, and my Plagueburst Crawlers were basically allowed to free range the game and really take out a lot of his remaining forces, along with a Rhino that was full of Plague Marines that popped out and really got to do some massive damage to those 30-man units. My round 3 was against Anna, one of my favorite people to play in 40k. She was running triple Land Fortress, which is not something you want to see when you're playing Death Guard. Anna brought Raise the Banners High, Grind Them Down, Bring It Down, while I brought Spread the Sickness, Warp Ritual, and Despoiled Ground. All three of these secondaries I thought were obtainable. She didn't really have a melee focus to her list, and I could really bully her if I could just make it to combat. We were also playing on GW layout 2, so I was able to stage really well with my drones and stuff. And then just really what happened was she pushed up with the Land Fortress to pop one of my Rhinos early game. Failed to kill it because of some very unfortunate beam attacks. And I was able to basically slingshot through with a few units and stage really well with my drones for turn 3 to start tagging all of our land fortresses and basically holding them for the rest of the game. On turn 2, I basically tagged all 3 land fortresses and had whittled down most of the other infantry units to where they basically just weren't able to deal with all of the threats I was putting out there, like the Terminators and everything else. So it was just free reign for me to go through and do everything. Despoiled Ground is obviously the end of the game. You made a whole bunch of different conditions, and if you do it, you get 15 points. And that was just a good secondary because she didn't really give up anything. Game 4, I think, may have been my most enjoyable game of the tournament. Not to say everybody else wasn't amazing. I just had a amazing time with Matt. We were hanging out, having a good time, helping each other if we made any crucial mistakes, really trying to give each other good feedback. We played a good game, very open, good play. And I had an absolute ball. Matt, you are a great opponent. I can't wait to see you in the next one. So, first up, Matt was playing Black Templars, all those free multi-melts in his list that you'll see here in a second. He took Grind Them Down, Bring It Down, Shock Tactics, and I brought Spread the Sickness, Despoiled Ground, and Warp Ritual. The game was very good, but I think he made one crucial mistake that I took advantage of very early on in the game. He basically put a 5-man squad onto the middle point to get that Secure the Sanctuaries points, and allowed me to just go for a lot of long bomb charges. I say long bombs, they were like 8s, 9s, and 10s, with about 5 units and a reroll. So I basically just went for a bunch of charges into them just to immediately take the center point, have so much threatening him, and be able to start pushing into his vehicles. So basically, turn 1, he went first, and I basically just spent the rest of my turn trying to tag as many of the vehicles as I could with as many units as I could, and just really locking him down for the game. He did get to start the game off by killing, I believe, 5 of my 10 Terminators right off the bat with just his overwhelming firepower from those gladiators. They're just so cheap and deal so much damage. It's really hard to just let them reign free. So I knew instantly I had to just go and try to dedicate as much as I can to tagging them. I will say I got very lucky on Warp Ritual because he has that 4 up tonight. He just couldn't afford it every turn because I believe his list started at 0 CP. And I was able to get Warp Rituals through. He did get a few denies off on turn 1, turn 3. Despoiled Ground's a really swingy secondary, but when it works really well. But also when it fails, it can fail miserably. And I was able to dictate the pace of this game a little bit just with all my tagging. So I think overall, it was a very good game. Round 5 is where I lost my first actual game versus Brad on his Space Wolves. I underestimated the Wolfen. I kind of underestimated how much Common Meltas can actually do in a list. And I absolutely got punished for it. I basically got all my things smoked right off the bat. I still scored really well in my secondaries, but I just was not able to bring the game back at all. I got Warp Ritual off because they just don't really have any denies. But my Spread the Sickness, I basically could only do my 2 home points. I could never really get onto that 3rd point and do it because he turned 3 because he went first. Was able to just smash into me so hard. I lost the 10-man brick to Wolfen, to 2 squads of Wolfen. Lost my backfield on my objective not in my territory to a Wolfen charging and failing out of deep strike and then moving up with a drone, getting absolutely slaughtered and having like 1 guy left and then them come up and just keep killing through my army. And his list is just so fast, so powerful with it was Whirlwind of Rage and Might of Heroes, I believe is the 2. So hitting on 2s, double exploding 6s on turn 3, and just absolutely pummeling me into the ground. And rounding out the tournament, I had Lyle Dixon as my last round opponent. He took Shock Tactics, Promethean Creed, and Raised the Banner High. I took Fleeing Vector, Spread the Sickness, and Warp Ritual. All in all, this game went really well for me. A few key moments where we had big point swings that really could have dictated the game and really made it a winning game even. Just went terribly wrong for me, and a few characters survived on one and then immediately slapped back and killed my character that charged in. He played it very well. He did have one minor mistake. He popped up on the wrong side of the board too close to some blight drones and caused him to get tagged and basically lose 3 units. That was really devastating for him. And I also got to take out one of his big blocks of flame aggressors with the -4 to morale strat for Terminators in combat. So that was a lot of fun to do, and we both learned a lot that game. And he played it super well, and they all did very well. Overall, I had a great time at the Invitational. Lost some games just due to knowledge and bad play, which is 100% on me. I've got no excuse for it. But overall, had a great game, great time with everybody there, and I hope we get invited back next year. Thank you all for putting on the event, and thank you all for joining us today. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.